whole hook and ladder thing in overtime to Miami. Yeah. So they've been
Tom Brady in the second quarter of that game, thinking he got a timeout and taking the sack.
Right.
You know, so there have been a couple little non-New England type things the last couple weeks.
Absolutely. So, and then obviously, you know, I look at them up front. They're not very good up front. They haven't been very good up front, especially from a protection standpoint. And it seems to me that teams are looking at them like, hey, we're going to just lock down Gronkowski in the middle. We're going to double team him in the middle, and we feel like we can survive one-on-one in other places. So let's make sure we take Edelman out of the middle of the field. Let's take Gronkowski out of the middle of the field. We feel like we can win on the edges, and we feel like because we'll play that press man, we'll play man on the outside, we're going to get to your quarterback because your offensive line can't hold up. And when they go on the road, that seems to be the formula that really gives them fits.
And here's the reason why it is not overreaction. It's not hyperbole at all to talk about that this is a different iteration of the Pats than we've seen in the last 20 years. Forget road home. 5 losses. They have been to 1 Super Bowl with 5 losses. Their first one. That team, nobody thought that team was overwhelmingly dominant early. They had a quarterback injury. They were 2 touchdown underdogs in that Super Bowl. They were very fortunate that year 11-5 was good enough to get a bye, and they were able to carry that momentum after the Tuck Rule game into the Super Bowl and shock the Rams. But the last time they had 5 losses or more was 2009. That was also a year they played in the wild card round and got beat by the Baltimore Ravens. The year before that they had 5 losses was, oh wait, that was 2008 when Brady wasn't there and they missed the playoffs entirely. The year before that when they had 5 losses was 2002 when they had 7 and they missed the playoffs entirely. This team is never in this position. So I think it would be foolish for us to take a Pats team that is in a position they have not been in a decade and assign them all the faith that we have assigned Pats teams over the past.
Truth, the reason why Jenna and I like, yeah, okay, all that's true. Yeah, they're not as good, but they do have that coach and they do have that quarterback. And we are talking about a tournament. This is not the NBA. Don't have to beat them 3 out of 5. Don't have to beat them 4 out of 7. Right. No, 2 or 3. It's one game. And that guy, Tom Brady, is going to have the ball 65 to 70 plays. Does he have that last game in him? Like, does he have that in him? We know that Belichick, they're going to be more buttoned up. They're not going to have 10 penalties like they had against the Steelers. And the reason why Jenna, we sit around, we're breaking it down because Jenna's like, Chris, I know they're not as good, but like they always do something. This is why we have faith. Chiefs, they don't scare us. They leaking oil, trying to get it. They don't have their running back. They can't run the ball. Can they do what the last 2 weeks have done? That's going to be put in question. And Andy Reid and the matchup against Belichick and that fan base, they are terrified of what could happen in the playoffs because of lack of success.
The Chiefs have the opposite playoff history of the Patriots.
Okay.
No good memories, just awful, horrific losses. One of them to your team.
Let's go to the Mentee. Let's go to the Texans. All right, y'all afraid of this offense? Huh? They're not going to be able to run the ball. They're running back. Lamar, he's hurt. Now, I'm worried about that defensive front. All right, we might have to go there because they might have the number 2 seed. All right, we just played Pittsburgh. We know they don't scare you. What about the Chargers? That little soccer stadium they're playing in. How much a home field advantage is that? They're going to have 30,000 Patriots fans out there. So there's reason when I go up and down this list,
right?
There ain't no dominant teams in the NFL. So
I think the one thing that shocks you, though, is we're so accustomed, Chris, to the Patriots after Thanksgiving never losing and playing clean football and not getting penalized and not making
I'm preaching
mental
all
gaps.
To people, and people are pointing their finger at me. It ain't working this year. And I'm like, but it normally works.
And don't they at least deserve the benefit of the doubt because they have found a way somehow, some way over the last couple years? They haven't been great this year. From the beginning of the year, they haven't been great.
But somehow, some way, the last couple years has been they're the 1 seed. They're 14-2. Like Pats fans like to act like, oh, we get counted out every year. You're 14-2 and 13-3. Who the hell's counting the Pats out in any of the last few Decembers? Nobody. Like the only time they haven't been to the Super Bowl in the last 4 years was up against a dominant Broncos defense. And guess what? In order for them not to make the Super Bowl, they had to miss an extra point, and then Brady had to just miss an open receiver on a 2-point conversion, or else they maybe would have gone to the last 4 Super Bowls. This team is different, and while Brady is the greatest quarterback I've ever seen, and he's maybe the most clutch athlete I've ever seen, certainly on the short list. He is going, he just hasn't been playing at 75% of that level this year. Now, maybe you're right. Maybe he's got something saved up for the very, very end.
Well, I'm not saying he's going to save it. I'm just saying all these games are independent of each other. Magic can happen. You get in one of those games, and I would be naive to think, man, Tom Brady doesn't go out in some type of great fashion. And a lot of it's based on a couple things. Look, all these teams have warts. All of them do. It's just a matter of which one's going to come out when we get in the playoffs. The Patriot and the Patriot way, yeah, it might not have worked for November. Yeah, it might not have be working for December. But who do you trust more? And I can't say right now I trust Patty Mahomes, Andy Reid, Kansas City fan base, scared out their mind. One of their fans right here, pom-poms under the table, kicking and screaming. Okay? Like, all of them have warts. I do believe this is that odd year. Now, this is also that odd year where you want to beat the Texans. You want to beat the Chiefs because it does look like this Patriot team is not as equipped as what.
I think here's what ends up happening to you, though. When you're on a good team, and you've been on some good teams, I've been on some really good teams as well. Even when you're struggling, I've been on a Super Bowl team that won 2 games late in the season, or excuse me, lost 2 games in December late in the season. I've been on a team that went on a run. When you're a good team, you know you're that close. You're one play away from all of a sudden, boom, we got confidence again. And New England just needs to make that one play.
That coach puts in those 5 plays during the game that made the difference. Watch this. This guy takes a bad angle. We make a tackle here. If we pick the blitz pickup, that's the difference a lot of time when you start seeing that.
And sometimes a coach will come in and say, hey, guys, look at, and they'll put it up and say, if we do this, we're going to get this at this point. At some point in the game, we're getting this. And when we get it, we're going to absolutely eviscerate them. We're going to get them with this. And all of a sudden, you go out and you execute it, and you're like, oh, here we go. You know, that's all it takes. Like, bad teams are waiting for something bad to happen because their coaches have been preaching to them the whole time, hey, man, we're going to have to play perfect to win this game. We're going to have to make sure, hey, this is New England. We got to play great against them. We can't make a mistake. And as soon as you make the mistake, they all go, uh-oh, here we go. The exact opposite is true for good teams.
I know you were calling the game this week in Baltimore and everything, but when Tom Brady had the ball, if everyone at the table was being honest, we thought they were going to score.